Hi, my name is Matthew J. Kushin. I'm the author of the young adult novel Beware the Smart Kids. It's a story of a teenager who's lonely, miserable, and desperate for something more in his life. His life is turned upside down when an ex-convict who knows the 5 secrets to happiness returns to town. Today, we're going to share the themes of those 5 secrets with people on the street and ask them what those themes mean to them. Happiness, not fear. Compassion, not judgment. Harmony, not rigidity. Gratitude, not perfection. Inconvenience, not catastrophe.
It's about taking a leap of faith. It's a lot about just doing things that are for you and just do things that make you happy.
You can be happy while still being afraid. I think they can exist on the same plane, whereas, fear and confidence, you can't really have both at once.
Being joyful and content in all circumstances.
Taking chances to do what you want and sort of make your life happy. Whether that means, joining a club when you're sort of nervous to, or maybe even removing something from your life that's stressing you.
Trying to do what makes you happy without sort of internalizing the fear from others.
Being grateful for what's happening and being excited for every day that's to come.
I see my mother and I see how happy I am with her and how I associate with her.
I, for one, struggle with anxiety, and a lot of that is due to fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of what I can't control. In times where, I can't control things, I have to be the person that I want to be happy.
We should breed a culture of just understanding one another, and maybe not fully, but just trying to be there for one another instead of passing that first judgment.
If you're judging someone, you're not having compassion on them. You're not having compassion for anything they're struggling with, anything they're dealing with. But if you have compassion, you're sympathizing with them, you're understanding.
Seeking to help others and to do what's best in the world and not judging them for their circumstances or where they come from.
Being empathetic to those who are around you, especially when you're not familiar with the situation or what someone's going through.
We all need to exercise a little more compassion and a little bit less judgment. There's a lot of outside factors, in the world today that sort of push a lot of judgment on us and encourage judgment of other people. You would want other people to be more compassionate for you, so I think it's important to exercise that to others.
Nowadays, there's a lot of judgment just off the bat when you meet somebody, and I think people need to realize that you need to be compassionate, and you don't know what everybody's story is and what they're going through that day.
Wanting to hear someone, wanting to listen.
Judgment is cast when people don't understand other people, and I've had that in my life a little bit. I've experienced judgment, and it's what's made me a more compassionate person.
It's good to be open and inviting for everybody, because I think that kind of helps breed sort of like a culture of togetherness.
When I hear harmony, I immediately think of music.
Seeking peaceful interactions with others and seeking a peaceful world and having harmony with everyone.
Trying to bring people together, whether that be something like we're doing here today at Shepherd University's Convocation, or in a classroom, or really anywhere.
You need to get rid of some of your preconceived notions, your rigid preconceived notions of what people are or aren't like. Once you get rid of that, it's sort of easier to exercise some harmony and, interact with people you might not before.
I feel like feeling loved, people actually enjoying your presence.
It is important that we break the barriers of judgment and misconception and really start to listen to one another.
I think it's important to remember that you just have to be thankful for what you do have or what you can do, and still shoot for the stars, but it's okay to not always get the whole way there.
Being thankful for what you have and not being jealous or seeking other things in your life, and just being content.
Being kind and thankful for those who are around you, and even if it's a stranger, being kind to you at the grocery store, right? Sometimes that can really change a day.
Things might not be perfect, but be grateful for what you do have.
We can't control every single thing that happens, and that's what keeps us on our toes, but it's exciting.
Everything doesn't have to be perfect. Making someone proud, doing the best to your ability.
I struggle with feeling grateful for the things that I've been given in my life, for the things I've been blessed with. I deserve to be happy by allowing myself to be grateful for the things that I have in my life.
I do this a lot. I just kind of go with the flow, see things as, just little bumps in the road. and not total world-ending disasters.
I think those are just two different ways of looking at something that's happening to you. I think, say something bad happens to you, you could look at it as a catastrophe or as an inconvenience. If you look at something as an inconvenience, not a catastrophe, it'll vastly change the way you approach it and how to change how you deal with that thing. Whereas a catastrophe, you just are almost giving up right off the bat.
Little things aren't always the end of the world. I know I can feel like they are sometimes, so taking it one step at a time and being resilient.
Even if something might feel like a catastrophe in the moment, it likely is not. So maybe try to treat it a little bit more like a small inconvenience.
You might apply for your dream job, might not work out, and that's okay. That's just how things go. And to me, I feel like it's important to understand that and not let that get you down and not let that keep you from other opportunities in life.
The world is what the world is, and it's going to change, so be open for the change.
I've had things happen in my life that I could have gone south very quickly. I kept resilient and I pushed through that through knowing that it's just a bad day.
I got interested in the idea to write this book as a result of the pandemic. Suddenly a lot of challenges can come up in life, and how do we learn to maintain happiness and learn to try to adapt and be resilient within all of this. I created a university class about happiness and media use, and the reaction among students to that class was really positive and really inspiring to me. We had more students in that class than the room could really hold. And so that got me thinking about trying to find ways to spread these ideas and messages. And I really started looking into research about happiness and myths surrounding happiness and myths surrounding things related to wealth and accomplishments. And I was really surprised to learn that a lot of the research showed that what makes people happy is not what they think is going to make them happy. And that's what inspired me to start thinking about how can I create a story around that.